Hey everyone, this is Those Guys. I'm Matt and I'm here along with.
Tristan.
Now, I believe this is our extremely belated Halloween special. I know that we're late to the party every now and again, but this is a travesty, Tristan.
It's like when you pick up, a VHS in this time period and then somebody says, "Hey, you should watch that." It's like, I really don't think I should.
It's not even like we were 7 days late. It's 14 days. Both of us would be dead twice over.
All right, well,
Uh,
our curse is a 2 week thing instead of 1 week thing.
That's fair. That's fair. Actually, I don't believe this is coming out 2 weeks late in theory. No. It's just gonna be a little over 1 week. I mean, we'd still be dead, but like whatever. Um, Either way, Tristan, we are talking about Ring Zero, also known as Ring Birthday. So this is a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I
All right. If anyone's confused about the
tried.
timeline for the Ring, you're me. So
You're me.
pretty much. No, because we've done a bunch of other Ring media before. We did Ring Kanzenban, which is actually referred to as Ring, I believe, like Complete Edition, because Ring Kanzenban is like it's a TV special that was supposed to be based off of the book a bit more. Technically, it wasn't though, because there were some things that were much different than the original novelization, but it was closer than the movie Ring, also known
Right.
as Ringu in the US, just to differentiate it from the movie, the English adaptation, The Ring. Anyway, so there is Ring. Then there's Ring 2, which, if you remember, Tristan, Ring 2, I don't want to spoil too much for anyone who hasn't listened to our reviews of it, but Ring 2 is the one where they really followed the
The,
story
the movie.
of the
Yeah.
first movie,
Right.
because the first movie, if you guys don't know, there's a lot different when compared to the original novel. So it
Yeah.
followed it with the kid and with the mom. And
Right.
even the dead dad kind of still
It's
not
kind of
being,
sort of
yeah,
movie.
existing, even though he did pass in the first movie. If you're watching
Right.
this and listening to this, I'm assuming you know the basic plot of the Ring film, since this is a prequel to it.
Right.
Rasen also came out around the same time as the original Ring and was meant to be based off of the Rasen novel. That went, and I say this as it's like a movie buff term rather. So Tristan, try to keep up. Completely batshit crazy, off the motherfucking rails. I don't know if you,
Well,
yeah, I don't know if you picked up on it, Tristan, but that's kind of the way. Rosten was completely fucking nuts.
yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So this movie, because it was written by the original author, not the movie itself, but the original short story that it was based on, like Rosen, kind of went off the rails as well, at least in the second half.
Yeah.
So it's not something that I despise. I think Rossen, you know what it is, and maybe it's just because this is done as a film, and you don't have all the text in front of you. There is no info dump necessarily that makes sense. For Rossen, there was an info dump, and I didn't get it. But I mean, again, it might look better on paper.
Right.
This movie had no info dump. It was just like, yeah, they were both two separate Sadokos, and now they're not going to be. Did you want me to say something that actually made sense? Kinda, Doctor. You're her dad. Sure, I'm her dad. Whatever. Um,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Her dad. I'm not an ogre. What? Hmm.
What? What did you say? That I'm her father? No, the thing after that. That I'm her father?
So that's where it's kind of frustrating for me, personally, is that this movie really just kind of like normally I'm cool with something going. Here's the thing. It's not that I'm cool with something going off the rails, but I have a crazy level of suspension of disbelief if the media that I'm watching is already batshit when coming into it.
Right.
So, and what I mean by that is, Tristan, is I've shown you different Japanese superhero stuff, and it gets really weird, especially with the 70s and the 80s. But I come into it knowing this is what I'm going to get. So when you see Starfish Hitler, that's a thing. When you
Oh,
see Starfish Hitler, you're
right.
like, Matt, what the fuck? And I'm like, what do you mean, what the fuck? That's
They're gonna
Starfish
fight it.
Hitler. They're gonna fight it. That's just how this goes. Why are you
Right.
so confused, Tristan?
Yeah.
So, but in this case, even though Rawson did, we have seen Rawson and stuff, I was still wondering in what direction were they going to go. Were they going to go with the more supernatural yet somehow subdued compared to all this science fiction, somehow subdued Ring movie, or are they going to go the route of Rawson and other, published works by the author? And it seems they went in the author direction. Did you enjoy that, or like where do you stand compared to me?
Like for this one,
For
or
this one specifically, yes.
yeah. Um, it's funny. I felt like it fit sort of nicely into what was going. Like it was a it was a piece of Sadako's life that we didn't really see a lot of, so it made sense that they're like, yeah, let's go back and make a movie out of this one. I'm like, all right, but like, and it was fine until we get once we get towards the end and the climax of everything, that's when everything just goes fucking crazy off the
This
rails.
crazy train.
Yeah, and
Um
like
Crazy.
I guess maybe that's just how The Ring is as a series and as books. But like sometimes I look back and I'm like, there are like, I feel like you could split this into the premises could be split into like three different horror movies, but they're combined into one.
The way I see it is I feel as if um when looking at it on paper, it has to make more sense. Maybe that's just me. No, because I think that when you have the ability to explain anything as an author, it just makes more sense. Where some people who have read the Harry Potter books will watch the movies and they're like, "Damn it, it feels like all of this is zooming past and we're not really getting the oomph of certain things." And etc., etc., etc. So when looking at this, I'm wondering if perhaps if I had read the not specifically with Birthday, but in general the original novels, and in the case of Birthday, it's actually based off of a short story called Lemonheart from the Birthday Anthology, and that's very important because, well, I don't want to spoil it because I haven't read it either. I do, looking at the summary of the book on Wikipedia, it's funny. I can see certain names and I'm like, oh, I know you. Oh, I know you. Oh, I know you, because they're really continuing stories that were started with the original Ring novel.
Right.
So what that means, Tristan, is they essentially took an idea mostly and just expanded on it so much, but tried to do it in ways where they wouldn't include other parts of the anthology, because there's
Right.
three. There's Coffin in the Sky, there's Lemonheart, and then there's Happy Birthday. Happy Birthday involves uh other like clones of Sadako, because again that was involving other media.
Oh
Then
my
we also have, I don't want to pick out which one in case some people are like, wait, what, if you haven't seen them. Also Mai, and some stuff that happened with her in other adapted media, that she also appears in Coffin in the Sky. And then in Lemonheart, that's the one that again is specifically about Sadako, but it's a short story, so I don't know how many pages it was, but I would not imagine that it's a decent chunk of the book.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have to turn that into an hour and 40-minute movie, and I really think that's why the movie was extremely slow, and that really hurt my enjoyment of it, because I feel as if, even though I wasn't terrified with the original Ring, I was on the edge of my seat. I was wondering what was going to come next. These compelling characters, are we going to see them live, die? What's going to happen here? In
Right.
this case, none of that. There was no sense of urgency whatsoever. And then when you don't have a lot of jump scares or general scares to kind of pad out some of that,
Right.
it then just becomes like you are a fly on the wall and you're like, man, uh I guess this is life, you know? Like when you
Right.
hear the phrase, "Oh, you're a fly on the wall," it's supposed to be like a big deal. Like, man, if I could be a fly on the wall. In
Yeah.
this case, I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. Where's some other shit going on in 2000? I could probably go see some other shit." You know, like could
Right.
I could I just fly somewhere else in Japan? I'm sure some cool stuff is going on. Time Ranger was being filmed. Can I go see Time Ranger? I'd prefer that rather than being a fly on this wall because it was, again, nothing was really, it felt as if nothing was going on. And then once it did, like we said much earlier, it got really, really weird.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
for me, I was kind of interested to see like what had happened to the troop because I think in even in the book and in the movie too, that is granted you don't actually need any of this information to continue along with the story, but it was interesting to see because a lot of the times they just say, yeah, she joined this troop for a bit of time and then people died and then she went back home for unbeknownst reasons and then she died as well. It's like, well, what? It's kind of like looking back and being like, well, what were the actual events that took place?
and I think it's interesting because I feel as if, and maybe I'm just a party pooper here, we didn't need any of this. Again, as a short story, I think it's a fun addition. But in terms of a full
Right.
film, we didn't
Yeah.
need any of this because even without the book, and maybe I'm just, maybe I'm misremembering, but even without the book, having Ring, Rasen, Ring 2, and I believe the special as well, definitely the special, even if it
The
was a
TV
version that
special.
was odd, even with that TV special, we got enough of her backstory. I think more so from the TV special, to be fair, but I feel as if we got enough of her backstory to know, okay, this is what her life was. And so there was going to need to be a really big money reason, and not like cash money, like actually like really trying to invest us into this to make us want to watch this. And I feel like that hook was never there.
Yeah.
Like, because one would say no, but Matt, isn't the hook the fact that she's two Sadakos? No,
Oh lordy.
not really. Like, I could have lived my life without knowing that, and
Yeah.
it would not have changed my enjoyment, even negatively. It's not would have changed my enjoyment of the Ring franchise. Like, I could have went my whole life thinking, even if you wanted to turn it into, well, she's not really the bad guy, because that's the other thing too. You could say maybe it's a bit too cliche, but I could argue I'd be okay with, oh, she's not the bad guy because everyone is mistreating her, and that's what kind of causes her to lash out without realizing it. But I feel like you kind of flip that on its head and throw that out the window once you're like, and there's an evil Sadako. It's like, oh, so then
Yeah.
so then is it both? Is it one or is it the other? Like which theme are you specifically sticking with here?
It's it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm making this
Do
comparison,
it,
but it's
do
us.
it.
So I'm gonna drag Dragon Ball in and be like, it's when
Uh
Good Boo and Evil Boo combine to make Super Boo. But in this case, we have Super Sadako.
I mean, to be fair, this book came out in 1999,
My god.
4 years after Dragon Ball Z ended. So,
So obviously he got his inspiration from. No, I'm kidding. Jesus.
am I? No, I'm
Am
also
I?
kidding.
No, I am.
Um
Oh,
yeah, yeah, I mean, that's really my biggest issue with this is that it just feels like it did not need to be made a movie.
yeah.
And then because of that, it just felt unnecessary. And you can call that a bias on my end because I came into this thinking like, oh, it's based off of a short story. I wonder how it's going to look. And then it's this. Like, this seems like it could have been you could have shaved down at least 20 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like this could have been like a TV special and made it maybe an hour, maybe 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and would have been fine. Um, I do, in a way, I kind of like the idea. I like the idea of showing that Sadako was not a monster to begin with. It's what people did to her and their
I
experience
feel
around her that made her this way.
it's weird. Some like I when we watched the first movie, I was sitting there like, all right, it does feel like it's a meme. Like no, I'm telling you, she was a crazy motherfucker. She was 8. I know.
Yeah, right.
Like, I will admit that was kind of funny. Because, like, I remember we were like, not you, you were like, actually, you were laughing, but, like, I was making these jokes because I'm like, man, like, he resorted to murder rather quickly.
Yeah,
But,
right.
although I believe the canon in the movie was that he kind of tortured her mentally. Or,
Yeah.
reverse. She tortured him, and he was like, well, I'm just gonna take you down to a trip to the well. Father, I can read your thoughts. Ah, this went poorly. Flips her into the well.
Yeah.
So I understand. Like, you know what it is too. I think it's at a certain point, not every single villain needs this level of redemption.
Yeah.
You know, like not every single villain. Like at a certain point, Freddy's just a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like Freddy Krueger, what a
Right.
fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. I'm happy he got burned alive. You know? But
Right.
no, you know his backstory, right?
Yeah, vaguely.
Okay, so then you vaguely remember why he needs to be burned alive. So,
Yes.
now on the other hand, Jason Voorhees, Friday 13th,
Right.
he just, because of camp counselors, like being negligent, he drowned in a lake when he was like 12.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, in that case, it's like, yeah, man, you chick, ha 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 ha, your way to fucking. You got, I mean, you're not killing the right people. You should probably go to their
Right.
houses.
Yeah.
You're killing the wrong kids, but, like, I hear where you're coming from, bud.
Right. That's why in this one, when like Sadako finally goes on the rampage, I'm like, yeah, you know what? These guys all had it kind of coming to them.
And that's what's weird about it, is that, like, I don't like being put in a position where I'm rooting for the villain. I think the only villain I've ever been like, what was that?
I said it depends for me.
Well, I was about to say that too. I think the only one that I was like, I at least want to see where this goes, was like Light Yagami.
All right, let's see this play out.
Light Yagami from Death
See how
Note.
this plays out.
But for the most part, I'm not usually sitting around like, let's see what Frieza would do if he controlled the universe. Like, no, I'm like, all right, can we just shut this shit down real quick? Goku, can you just shut this shit down? Right. You know, I don't like looking around being like, well, what would a Red Ribbon Army world look like? Like, no, Goku.
Yeah, no.
To Dragon Ball. Fuck
yeah, I just it. Like, I know odd things, and like her powers affected people around her without her actually doing it to anyone, really. And it just everyone started to slowly go mad, and then just started blaming her more and more. It's a vicious cycle, but like there's a point where you could have been like, all right, this place is haunted, let's we're moving buildings, we're getting out of here. You know, it didn't have to, we need to murder the new girl.
Another issue too is that it kind of made that jump real quick.
Yeah. Oh, because it was the reporter, the other woman that came in, like she started slowly turning people against her too.
Let's be fair, her fiance, depending on the story, it's either fiance or husband, died years earlier because of Sadako's mom.
Right. He was the reporter at that event when she lost it with her powers because no one would stop.
Taking the pictures and yelling and stuff, and then she lost it, and then he died. Apparently, that was her fiance husband.
Yeah, so she wanted revenge for that, and like,
well, it was weird. She was like, at first, the way the story is supposed to be set up. I mean, maybe we got different things from it. I think I'm with you too, but apparently it was supposed to be. She was like, I'm just investigating to see if she has the power, and then as time went on, she's like, oh no, she has that power. Which made her think, then she needs to be stopped. Like, if she found out that Sadako did not have that telekinesis or whatever the power is referred to in Japanese, if she didn't have that, then she would have just been like, oh, well, you know what? You do you. Like, I'm not going to kill you just because you're her daughter.
She would have just left it alone, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But she was prepared in the off chance that she also, because to her, she thinks she's a monster. So it's like, well, if you're a monster like your mom, I got a gun with your name on it.
Yeah, right? It's like...
Yeah. But you know what it is, too? It's just weird that she is it's weird that she is being painted as the villain partially due to the sins of her mother, who was also supposed to be a victim.
Right, exactly.
Like that's kind of the issue that I have here, especially, by the way, talking about this movie, something that I haven't even brought up yet that I wanted to just kind of slipped my mind. The idea that this is based off of a short story, therefore it contradicts the stuff that happened in the big Ring movie that everyone knows.
Right.
So if you don't know anything about the novels, I feel like you go into this being like, what?
Yeah.
Like, at least confused, because you're like, but
Right.
I watched the Ring movie, and then
Right.
I'm watching this, and a few of these things don't add up.
Yeah. Like most of the plot going on.
Well, not like that.
No, I know.
Not
I'm
in
kidding.
that way.
I know.
Because I'm pretty sure, didn't the first movie imply, again, due to its differences from the novel, that she died as a child? That she did not go to a theater troupe in Japan? Or throughout Japan? Like, I'm pretty sure it implied, like, she died young. She was in the well, quote unquote, alive.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh my God, she was in the well alive for years," but they did
Right.
not specify like she was in a theater troupe and then they all died. At least in the first movie, I believe other ones went a little bit deeper into that and were a little bit
Yeah.
different, but I'm pretty sure the movie did not. The novel did, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the movie did not do that.
Yeah, I
Or did
I
they?
mean it's been a while now. I
Right.
felt like it was a quick mention, but they didn't spend as much, like it wound up being a dead end, and they're like, yeah, okay, let's not pursue that anymore. We have to look at other means right now, and then they end up going back to the island and that whole. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Oh, I would like to mention something that's really funny. Somehow all things lead back to Jurassic Park. Like I'm not even kidding. It finds a way.
You mean the end scene when she's full Sadako and just
No,
attacking people in the woods, or?
no. Although, yeah, no. I was like, you know what? No, I'm not even gonna.
I'm
The
not gonna
actress
entertain
that
idea.
played the actress that played Sadako in this movie, her
Right.
name is Yukie Nakama,
Okay.
which is funny. That's Nakama's her last name. I don't know how it's written, but it's just kind of funny. Yukie Nakama. She did not play anyone in Jurassic Park, obviously, because you would have noticed that. I would hope immediately.
Yeah.
But in for Jurassic World, she dubbed over the voice of Claire.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was assuming you were gonna
Yes,
get.
but it's
saying,
still
yeah, she dubbed it over, right?
but the voice of Claire. So she's had a long career. This is in 2017.
Wow. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yes,
Damn.
Jurassic World, Claire, Bryce Dallas Howard. She was also in when we did 12 Nights of Shyamalan. She was in The Village. And also she was in the other movie, the one that you liked that I didn't, Lady in the Water.
Yes.
Yes. She was in both of those as well before being in Jurassic World, and then Fallen
Right.
Kingdom. Yeah, anyway, so it's just kind of funny. It all leads back to Jurassic Park. And also, Yukie Nakama was in Gamera 3, Awakening of Iris. I don't know if that means anything to you, Tristan.
Uh.
Have you seen Gamera 3, Awakening of Iris?
Oh no, I haven't.
Well then, all right then. I know you're a big Godzilla fan. I always forget if that translates into Gamera.
Yeah, I need to watch more Gamera. I want to.
How dare you? As if it's a big deal. Anyway, so yeah, this movie, I don't want to call it bad. It just oh, actually, before I even get into that again, I want to ask, was this the one relationship couple dynamic that you don't have a problem with? Because
Yeah, I mean,
because he was arguably her superior, but he wasn't a sleazy higher up like that other fucker.
like the
one who
director.
yeah, the one that's see, here's the thing, right?
Good fucking.
At the end, I felt weird rooting for like, like their murders. But him,
I
I was
didn't.
like, You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah.
What I found odd was that they were just like, oh, let's just hide him in here, and I'm like, I know that it's kind of hard to move a body. Not that I know. I would imagine. I would like to note. I would imagine.
Those
I
guys' productions would like to know that the opinions expressed in this podcast do not reflect the company at large.
My lawyer and I would like to note that I imagine it would be hard to move a body. The point being,
Yes.
I'm crying. The point being is that it's just weird that if you have another Sadako, she can't help you. She can't, netherworld this dude. I mean, we're
Right.
really gonna sit here and be like, yeah, I can kill you just by looking at you, but disposing of a body? What am I? A psychic? What am I? What do you mean? I don't have any powers. Like, it just got
Yeah.
weird to a certain point where it's just like, so you're just gonna leave
That
him there
and
during
her
the production.
powers go from like, yeah, I can project people
I
who are already
know.
dead onto photographs
I know.
to making people walk again
Well, remember,
and healing wounds.
that's the good version of her, which
Right.
apparently I think that's what they were trying to go for, like
The one
she
that took
could,
after her mother, or the
yes.
idea that like, yeah, her mother's powers could have progressed to that as well if, given the chance.
It's an interesting duality that I do appreciate.
Yeah.
It just feels lost when
Right.
it's something that has been never really been addressed until this moment.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, it would, like, despite all my problems with Solo, they didn't like randomly reveal that Han Solo had a brother. Do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's Han and John. They've been traveling
Right.
the world, the galaxy for years. I'm like, no, they fucking haven't. Oh, but John's gonna die horribly. Of course he fucking is. He was never in 4, 5, or 6, and he was never mentioned.
Right.
That's what I feel that's kind of weird here. Where, granted, I'm not expecting a monologue from Sadako at any point. But it's weird that we have this duality of Sadako that is never mentioned, even by her dad in the first movie.
Right.
Like, you would think that'd be the big thing. You'd be like, by the way, she used to be 2 people. I might not seem relevant, but dude, it was a fucking day. And that's the thing too, by the way. It's kind of funny how, like, they talk to the theater troupe. I forgot in what incarnation it was, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I kind of remember her." It's just like, well,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm pretty sure in this movie all of them are dead, so there's nobody to remember her. There's nobody to interview
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
Literally nobody. And also, by the way, everyone in that theater, like, nobody, and I mean no, even though this was in the 60s, 70s, like, this was a while back, but nobody, although it's weird, I don't know when it was supposed to take place, because they have some phones that I'm like, those are some 90s ass phones. Like, I don't think they cared about the equipment, but the time period was supposed to be a while back, because this is when Sadako was in her 20s.
Right.
And she didn't, like, die and then 5 years later the ring happened. I'm pretty sure there was a bit of a gap, I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being, Tristan, is that it's funny that no one was like, wow, that was some crazy shit. We should, like, talk about this. Like, it's just, no one talked about it in that theater. They all left. Some people died there, but, like, oh,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
I guess we're never going to talk about this again. It was just
Yeah,
some
it
weird
seemed
shit.
like, I mean, like, her mom's event kind of got hushed after a while too, and people forgot. But like, this feels a little bit bigger in a
And
way.
also, and yeah, well, not
In
only
sense,
is it,
like, it's not as easily going to be brushed under the rug, and people will forget.
let's also note where it takes place too. That flashback to the mom, they were at a press conference on an island. I don't think they were in the big city. I'm pretty sure they were
No,
on
yeah.
the same island that they lived at. So it's much more rural.
Right.
In this case, this is a big city. I don't believe it was specifically in Tokyo, but maybe it was, but it was a big city that they were doing this. They were doing theater in. So I don't know. It's just a it's a weird event to just be like, oh yeah, all this happened, but by the time the first movie rolls around, everyone's like, Sado who? I don't know who that is.
Right.
But either way though, yeah. So were you okay? You were kind of getting on it, and I took us off track horribly. Uh, were you okay with the love interest thing? I mean, I don't think it was as developed, but still, did you enjoy it, or was it another one of those that you kind of felt was forced and that you didn't like?
I mean, this no, like it felt natural in a way. It was nice to have at least because at first he wasn't like, "Oh, I'm totally into her." At first it was just like everyone kind of treats her badly and she's just kind of quiet. Like, you guys want to chill, like, and he just, like hangs out with her and just talks to her and like, "Hey, you good? You okay?" So, it felt like it built up nicely. Like it took some time to get to that point. Um, yeah, I didn't mind it. It was also just nice to have someone actually be a person, just a regular person to Sadako instead of, wow, she's creepy, she's weird, stay away from her.
I know, yeah. It's kind of like, guys, we're not 12 anymore, right?
Yeah, right. It's like I know
She's
we're
she's
stressed
not.
out and like we all got to work together and all that shit, but like come on,
She's not creepy. The
right?
person possessing her is.
Yeah. Or even it's like she's not creepy. The director is creepy, although I don't know whether that was supposed to be more him or supposed to be more of like being affected by the powers incidentally or what. But
No, 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 no. He was a pervert.
yeah, he was still a scumbag. It was just being escalated, I guess. I don't know.
No, no, no. I don't believe. No, 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 no. Oh, I see what you're trying to say.
That's
No, no,
what
no. What
everybody else
happened
made it
is.
seem like though. Like, yeah, no, I totally believe he was a scumbag through and
Well,
through.
no, no, no. Because what happened was, so he was a scumbag, but then by the end, he's like, so, yeah, basically, because when he threatened her, when he's
Yeah.
like, so if you, try to kill me, I'll just tell everybody about you. And she's just like, maybe, I don't know if she was trying to. That's another thing, too. I don't know if she was trying to, or if it was the other half of her, or if maybe she was getting stressed, so it was starting to happen. But once
Yeah.
he hears the sound, he's like, oh, I'm getting murdered. I can't let that happen. And then he tries to kill her. And then, of course, that's when the
Yeah.
other guy comes in, and then that all
Right.
gets fucky.
Toyama-san, I
Yes,
believe it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
Toyami, I believe. Let me get the names up right here.
So that was the
Yeah,
funniest part,
Toyama. Yes,
though.
Toyama.
Right. That was funny for me in a way. It's like the director's like, oh, he's like, you're about to kill me, so I'll have to kill you first. It's like, wouldn't you be like more afraid in the sense of, all right, let me leave this room so you can calm down, so you don't bring the house down on me and kill me. But like, I, I, I how much of an idiot or how like, you obviously think she killed the other actress too, so it's like you have it in your head that like she's capable of murder, but I can stop her. It's like, how fucking self-centered do you have to be to think, yeah, I could kill her if she tries to kill me? She's got psychic powers or some shit like that,
he
but I can
legit,
handle it.
he legit had nothing. Like there was
Yeah,
nothing
like,
he could do at that
right.
point. He
At
was
least the others
majorly
like
fucked.
started picking up tools and shit, which was brutal, but
I mean,
like,
dude, he was majorly fucked at that point.
no, he was, but like he just tried to strangle her. It's like, you really think you're gonna be able to do it in time?
Legit, he had nothing. I'm just being
Yeah.
serious. He had no other option. I'm not saying
Like,
he should have done it. I'm just saying that like
I
he
guess.
he reaped what he sowed. There was nothing he could
Oh
have done at
yeah,
that
I
point.
just feel like if he was like, all right, if you try and kill me, I'm gonna kill you, he would come prepared. Like that would be the moment I'd expect him to pull the gun and be like, all right, don't try anything foolish, But no, he just tried to strangle her.
So I have a question for you, and I'm not trying to be a dick here. I'm being partially serious.
Okay,
What?
partially.
Yeah, is there like a part of the movie where you were like, "Oh boy, I'm scared," rather than being like, "Ah, that was mildly, I, my sphincter thought it would tighten, but then it did not." Like what? What? Like, any part? Because like when you
Yeah.
see the first movie again, I'm not like, "Oh my god, ooga booga booga," but there was like tension. Like you were like, wow, I see how that was done. That was interesting. In this case, like there were some scenes where I didn't even marvel. I was like, ah, okay, but it didn't grip me. I don't know about where you stand on this.
Yeah, I. Hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, there were. Yeah, I kind of feel that as well. There were definitely moments. I mean, there were moments where it felt tense, but I don't think I really had the oh shit moment until the end.
yeah, and I didn't even have an well, I will admit I didn't have an oh shit moment, but I did enjoy the crinkling and the crackling of her body. I thought that was a
Oh,
very great effect.
oh God, yeah.
That was such a good effect, but
Ugh.
it was so odd because I will admit though, when I heard, okay, so I was under the impression that they were either going to shoot her twice or that they were so nervous that they shot themselves, but I think the general consensus is Sadako was like, "Nah, you're going to shoot each other."
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they. Yeah,
No, I thought it was like, "Well, if we're both going to die, it's going to be on our terms." No, it was, "We're going to shoot you." And she's like, I have psychic powers." So
right.
no on that one, Kimasabi. And
Yeah,
so and then they died. So that was, but I heard the two gunshots and I was like, well, to be fair, you would shoot her twice.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then I mean, I wouldn't just shoot her once.
Oh no, I would have unloaded that entire clip. Yeah. Oh.
It's like our Fear 3 let's play.
Yeah. I feel like it was, the reporter tried to shoot her, but then her powers invaded her mind and she basically shot herself and the other one.
Right. Oh, I laughed so hard when the reporter closed one of the shades. And the way she hid was like,
Oh right,
no,
yeah.
because it looked like it was like, damn, like it was, like, oh my god, she's gonna show up. And then she goes into the other room, and I'm like, even if you close, like, what was the thought? Like, if I closed both shades, she would be like, damn, I cannot enter
Yeah.
without being invited. Like, she would have just appeared even
Yeah.
if it was closed.
At that point it's just out of desperation, just like
I know,
any way to like block her out.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, she was totally fucked at that point.
Yeah. Also, like, I understand that people can be crazy, especially in mobs, but it was kind of funny where, like, the reporter's just like, by the way, there is another Sadako, and they're like, makes sense, murder again.
Yeah.
They were so, like, this theater troupe were so gung-ho with murder that, like, it felt like it was an improv prompt. Like, all right,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
someone in the audience said murder. All right, somebody else, Sadako. Okay, murder Sadako. Got it. Like,
Right.
it just felt
Wait,
like
that
a
wasn't in the
prompt.
script. Yes, it was.
No, again, it felt like they were doing improv.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
it was a
exactly.
prompt. Like, it's like, all right, guys, what am I getting here? What are we
Yeah.
feeling tonight?
See line. You take the hammer and you hit the new girl in the head with it. Got it. Wait.
I
No,
was
don't question it. Just do it.
also, did you notice, and this is something that I do find interesting, that the play kind of mirrored Sadako's existence
Yeah.
somewhat.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
I mean, I enjoyed that, to be fair.
Yeah. No,
This
that was a
movie,
nice background touch.
yeah, this movie isn't a shit show. That's the thing.
No.
Like, and it's just something that I would suggest that people do watch it. I wish there was, because this movie initially was released on VHS, so that's really how I had to track it down, VHS and DVD. So I
Right.
wish more people could actually watch the dang thing, like on a streaming service or have another like DVD or Blu-ray release. But it's just frustrating because, I assume if anything would be picked up, it would be the initial film and the US remake, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, they would not touch this probably.
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
think it's something that people should see. I just think that if someone said, "Oh my god, do you think it's like the best one?" No. Do you
No.
think it's the worst? Definitely not.
Yeah.
It's just a story that we weren't asking for. Like, despite
Yeah.
my
Like
criticisms with
I
Solo,
appreciate it as a piece of the puzzle, but
Mm-hmm.
on its own, no.
Even despite my criticisms with Solo, to be fair, that is a story from what you've told me, Tristan, as someone who's a huge Star Wars fan. It's a story that people have been asking to see in some form other than novelizations for
Yeah,
years now. So to have it come to the big screen, despite some hiccups and despite what some people think about Star Wars as a franchise now, this was a big deal. People were not people were asking for this. So in this case, I don't know if people were legitimately asking, man, we
yeah.
gotta see more about this Sadako thing.
I
It's
mean,
like
I kind of feel like it was like, hey, this was still popular, and they
it kind of does
wanted
feel that way.
something more to add to it to
Yeah,
capitalize on that.
yeah, it really does feel that way, and it's just kind of frustrating because I again, I don't think it needed to be made. Again, not like awful. It's just it doesn't wow me.
Yeah,
And again, I feel like I could see the original movie and get what I need to
what
get
you
from
needed
it.
out of it. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's fair. Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
do feel similar. Um, like I said, I it was interesting. It's a little interesting to see it be added as a piece of the puzzle, but to really the first ring was kind of good for me in a sense. Like,
And you're someone who doesn't like we've talked about this before. You don't like horror movies. So for you to be pulled in by that kind of thriller, it really actually
yeah,
it gelled with you more than if it was, she was like gorily killing people.
yeah,
And there was no
and
real gore here other than the gunshot wounds.
no, yeah, and I really like the idea that it's more mystery and like
Mm-hmm.
it's that figuring out the paranormal stuff and like getting down to the bottom of it. And then yeah, things get just a little too like I feel like you could almost dial down her powers and it would feel a little more grounded and make a bit more sense, but like towards the end, like each of these always seem to like just go off the rails and it's like, all right, that's not the twist I was expecting.
Basically, like minus the first ring, when you look at ring 2, Rasen and this one, they all go off the rails. And it's interesting because when you look at the genre, at least like, and again, I'm going by Wikipedia here, so of course all of you could laugh if you'd like. It's listed as horror, and I'm like, nah, bro, horror and sci-fi. This is straight up sci-fi, guys.
Yeah,
Like only one of them, called Loop, is because it's a story that revolves around simulated reality, which I don't know what that means because I haven't read that novel,
right.
but it's one of the it's one of the Ring novels. It says horror and simulated reality, and I'm like, okay, cool, but like other ones really do need sci-fi in there because if you're telling me that this stuff with Sadako isn't considered sci-fi at this point,
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's not supernatural, at least to me anyway. Maybe, different lore, some interesting stuff in Japan, but for me personally, especially when you include Rasen into this, it's in
right.
the sci-fi territory. It's not fantasy magic. It's the more fiction side of science fiction, but
Right, yeah.
it's still science fiction nonetheless.
Yeah, because they still kind of root it in like
A
their
virus.
like yeah, what yeah. And that's where it loses it for me.
But no, but they try to root it in a virus. In this case, it's not a virus just yet, but they do try to root it in. I mean, her dad's a doctor for fuck's sakes, and he talks about it like it's a diagnosis.
Yeah, right. And like I felt it was more like developing like psychic powers and that. And that's what it feels like at the beginning and then it veers away from that. And I'm like, "No, no, stay here. Stay here. Stay ah."
Yeah, pretty much.
And then yeah, in this one it's like her powers like again range so drastically. It's like how is she not like so much more powerful than everybody else? But at the same time it's like they like she can be killed, but she can come back and then she can make buildings and electronic devices go crazy, and shit falling down. She can, I mean, granted, killing people by looking at them was always kind of a steeple, like, so that's fine, but like powers all over the place. It felt
I
like they couldn't decide what they wanted her shtick to be.
Well, that's the issue. I'm gonna get to that in a second. I think I have one of the Ring graphic novels. I just don't know which one, the manga. I just don't know which one that I have, because there was a manga based off of Birthday and based off of just the Ring initially, and I know I have one of these. Anyway, back to what you were saying. The problem is that sadly the definition. I don't know again what they're going for with her, if it's Esper or something like that, but like it isn't it doesn't translate to just straight up normal psychic.
Yeah, right.
It gets really weird.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to see what the exact name of it is, because okay, so Nensha, that's what they use in this description here. So yes, Nensha is thoughtography,
right,
also called projected thermography, psychic photography, nengraphy, and nensha, is the claimed ability to burn images from one's mind onto surfaces such as photographic film by psychic means. While the
right.
term thoughtography has been in the English lexicon since 1913, the more recent term projected thermography is a neologism popularized in 2002 U.S. film The Ring, a remake of the 1998 Japanese horror film Ring. Yes, and so there's been different claims from different people around the world. So not it started seemingly it seems to have started in Japan in 1910, but around 1910. But of course, it's gone to other parts of the world as well.
Yeah,
Germany. I'm just Chicago resident, 1960s. All right.
yeah.
Japan again, closing in 1984. And then 1995, Yuri Geller. Anyway, so yeah, interesting stuff. A lot of it seemingly coming from either magicians or people who are claiming to be. So it's an interesting thought, but like you said, yeah, if they just stayed there, that's okay. But then they go into they go from Nensha to Esper,
Yeah,
which Esper, it's such a hard one, because if you just say psychic, but if you're psychic, that wouldn't necessarily mean that you could move items or create psychic blasts.
right. Yeah,
Although moving items, I think some iterations in the U.S., like not even from Japan, just straight up U.S. Books or movies, they'll claim psychic is like moving shit, but it's not making psychic blasts. But Espers in Japanese media can do that, and there are different types of media that have included them, and it's kind of funny because I'm like, oh, why is that Esper? Shouldn't it be psychic? And then I'll see them blow something up, and I'm like, that's
oh.
not psychic.
Right.
Like it's like doing a mind kamehameha. Like that's not psychic.
Yeah,
So it's interesting. It's very hard to pin something down for a U.S. audience. But Nensha works because it's something that, or at least different terms for Nensha work because it's been shown in the West even before the Ring movie.
right.
One term was popularized, but it's been shown in the West much earlier than that. So that works. But like you said, Tristan, it just goes off the rails in a very odd way. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Anything else you want to say about this before we wrap this one up kind of early?
Um, trying to think.
She seemingly is Jesus. So there's that.
Yeah, right.
She's
That too.
curing the lepers. She's just going around. She's Jesus. Who else but Sadako? And then
Yeah.
they sacrificed Jesus. And then he fusion danced with the serpent. I don't know where we're going with this.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to.
Oh my god. Um, yeah, it's my problem with prequels that I continuously have. I sound like a broken record. It's never going to go anywhere. It technically can't.
Right.
So unless it's a really gripping story or it's really fun, like again, Solo, I was there for the ride, but it's kind of like this kind of reminds me of episodes 1, 2, and 3 in a sense. Where else were you really going to go? And do I want Darth Vader to seem sympathetic?
Right.
I will say though, I did enjoy the acting. I did enjoy the woman who played Sadako. Like, I didn't feel like anything here was
Oh yeah.
the only
Her,
thing that felt outlandish to me was when the lady, the one who was dressed very loudly when she died, her scream. I was like, okay, that's actually kind of funny. Like, some of the screams were not. They, I don't know. They just seemed kind of funny to me. Like,
right.
they didn't seem like blood curdling. They just seemed like, I wonder how it would sound if this character was murdered. I don't know. Ah! And it just kind of felt funny to me. But other than that, I didn't like I don't know Japanese, so I can't say, about people's inflections, but I did feel that the woman playing Sadako really was like this very nice goody two shoes, very quiet, like she is considered the weirdo, but she's not a horrible person
Yeah.
until Evil Boo fuses with her, and then all of a sudden she's skinny Sadako.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what it was.
Super Sadako.
Super Sadako. Anyway, so yeah. So I think this is really where we could wrap it up. Thank you all so much for watching as always. If you are watching this through our YouTube channel, Those Guys on the Radio, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you all so much, and definitely check out some more podcasts that are coming out this month, some with Tristan, some not. You can check that out through our different social media accounts, like our facebook.com/Those Guys on the Radio, our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio, or our website, which is teachproduction.net. All right, guys, love you all. Take care. Tune in next time. Tristan, we'll see them before next Halloween, and maybe we'll actually be talking about another Ring movie.
Possibly. Oh no.
If not a Ring movie, there's some better stuff that we could be talking about, Ring related. We'll see what happens.
Take care, everybody, and make sure always label your VHS tapes.
Seriously, you gotta fucking do it. Also, could you watch one for me? I got it right here.
I already did.
Excellent. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.